The politics, and then you know how it is. Once they want you out, they're going to find something.
The story surrounding Mark Jackson being blackballed from coaching is still very intriguing to me. No one has said exactly why he was blackballed from the league, but there were so many coaching positions that were available and Mark Jackson wasn't chosen. But why is that? J.J. Redick was recently hired by the Los Angeles Lakers after UConn's coach Dan Hurley didn't take the job. Matter of fact, he turned down an extra $20 million just to return to UConn. So why is Mark Jackson not a coach?
The only thing I blame Mark for is he got to do a better job of surrounding himself with people he can trust.
Even with a successful tenure with the Golden State Warriors, Mark Jackson was one of the reasons the Golden State Warriors core was created, aside from the front office. He believed in them from the very beginning.
Best shooting backcourt of all time. Is that still how you feel?
I didn't say that. I said they are the greatest shooting backcourt that's ever played this game.
You in confidence in the guys. And I think that was huge in our growth and who we eventually became. And earlier today, the clip when he said, I got the best shooting backcourt in the history of basketball.
He sounded crazy.
He sounded crazy. I thought he was crazy and out of his mind. Everybody in the world thought he was crazy and out of his mind.
The Golden State Warriors sucked. They only made the playoff once between 1994 and 2012. But for some reason, Steve Kerr almost always gets the credit. Even though he was the one to unleash the Warriors core, he wasn't the one to build that foundation. Mark Jackson was the Warriors coach for 3 years and helped the Warriors transform into a playoff contender. But it was overlooked by internal conflicts and strained relationships, which created a toxic work environment. The Warriors front office and the assistant coaches didn't like Jackson's managerial style of coaching, and he had issues with Brian Scalabrine, someone he vouched for and personally asked for him to be an assistant on his coaching staff. I think one of the real issues is not pertaining to basketball. Mark Jackson was also very religious and didn't shy away from his Christian faith. He was an ordained minister, and some of his religious practices made his staff and team uncomfortable.
Serve two masters. His name is Jesus. His name is Jesus. What's his name? Jesus. What's his name? Jesus. What's his name?
And sometimes he encouraged his team to go to church.
Did he make y'all go to church? That was a rumor that he made y'all go to church.
No, he didn't make
Sunday?
us. He didn't make us go to church. Like, he offered it to us, and we all went as a team because we got a team bunch of believers. So we went to church. Like, we was going to church regardless. Mm-hmm. But
also questions about Jackson's coaching style, being that it's more old school and it's not on pace with the new NBA style of play. Some of his offensive schemes were said to be outdated, so other candidates were the obvious answer. I guess Mark Jackson could be a good coach for a younger team, or even be an assistant, but that didn't happen either. So something definitely feels wrong here. Even with all the criticisms, it's hard for me to believe that all these things is why he doesn't have a head coaching job.
What about Mark Jackson, who is one of the brilliant basketball minds this game has ever seen? That same Mark Jackson was once the coach of the Golden State Warriors, no longer the case. That same Mark Jackson hasn't been able to get another job since that season as a head coach.
Still baffles me that he's never gotten an NBA job.
I can't believe it.
It's insane.
I say it all the time, it's crazy.
It's insane.
Mark Jackson being blackballed was not about basketball. It was due to his comments about the LGBT. Mark Jackson made public comments about the NBA promoting LGBT issues, and that didn't align with the NBA's progressive culture or with the Warriors organization. The president at that time was Rick Welts, who is an openly gay man, and I think those comments hurt Mark Jackson more than he thought.
He was the brains behind All-Star Weekend. Like, this dude, he created the All-Star Weekend. Rick Welts, like, genius business. And he celebrated as one of the top execs in sports on the business side, and he's gay. So there was conflicts with that was, widespread. Everyone was talking about that. And
when Jason Collins came out, the coach of the Warriors, Mark Jackson, said that as a Christian man, I have beliefs of what's right and what's wrong. He said, on the other hand, I know Jason Collins and his family. I'm praying for them. That, to me, did not sound like open arms for an openly gay player for the Warriors. Did that comment from the coach disappoint you?
Yes. And Mark and I have the kind of relationship where we could have a conversation about that. And I think, that was in some way taken out of context. And I think, Mark and I are in a really good place right now. And I think that, how he feels about the issue is not inconsistent with what we would hope as any employee of the Warriors. And I think that he probably didn't say it exactly the way he wished he'd said it at the time. So it did disappoint me. But I think since we certainly talked it out, and we're in a good place.
With all the dysfunction that was happening, there was no way he would be getting another head coaching job in the NBA. Even though players like Andre Iguodala came to his defense and stating that he was a player's coach, I just think the narrative is too strong for Mark Jackson to overcome, especially with his beliefs and the NBA's beliefs not aligning. These reasons is why Mark Jackson will more than likely not coach in the NBA ever again. Relationships is valued in the NBA, and Jackson failed terribly in that aspect. Even though with a narrative surrounding him, he is still well respected and recognized as being the foundation of the Warriors' success. And if y'all haven't realized, basketball just isn't basketball in the NBA.
People can express themselves, but are you allowed to express yourself that you don't agree with it? You should accept it because we should all accept each other, but it's like we're afraid to really say our beliefs.